Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this online exclusive event, part of our Admitted Student Webinar Series. My name is Ricky Hill, and I'm the e-recruiter at the University of California, Merced. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We are here tonight for a presentation on the new student orientation. Right now, let me go ahead and give you a couple of quick tips so that you can follow along with us. If you would like to adjust your audio settings, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen. Just click on that audio settings button and make adjustments as you see fit. If you would like to adjust the size of your window, click on View Options at the top of your screen, and you can make adjustments there as well, either full screen or something smaller to your preference. Also, if you would like to participate with us in our question and answer, please go ahead and click on the Q&A button at the lower portion of your screen. A dialog box will appear. You can type in your question and send that over to us. We will do our best to answer your questions throughout the presentation, as well as during a live question and answer session at the end of the presentation. At this time, I would like to pass this off to my colleague, Alisa.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Student Orientation webinar. Again, thank you all for joining us as we'll be covering very important information and updates about orientation. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right. So again, like Ricky said, we please ask you that if you have any questions, please add them in the chat below, as we'll be answering them at the end of our presentation. Next slide.
Alrighty, so for today's agenda, in a moment we will go ahead and do introductions. We will also be going over the program overview, orientation dates and fees, as well as the orientation registration and any additional information regarding the orientation program. Hello everyone, my name is Yesenia Ramirez Sigala. I am a student coordinator for New Student Orientation.
Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Garcia. I'm also a New Student Orientation coordinator.
Hi everyone, my name is Crystal Perez and I'm the Student Services Advisor for the New Student Orientation Program.
Hi everyone, my name is Dulce Maria Naya and I coordinate our New Student Orientation Program.
Hello all, Jason Juarez. I serve as the Associate Director for Transition Programs in our Calvin E. Bryce Success Center, and I work with our orientation team. I'll go ahead and pass it right back to Dulce.
Next slide, please. Awesome. Well, just wanted to welcome you on. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar about our new student orientation program. And just wanted to start off by saying congratulations on being admitted to UC Merced. This is a very exciting time for you and your families as you prepare to transition to UC Merced. And despite the summer being different in that we won't have our traditional on-campus orientation program, our program is working very hard to deliver an engaging program for both you as students as well as your families this summer. So we're very excited to get to know you throughout the summer, and we'll be sharing details about what the orientation experience is looking like for you all. Next slide.
All right, so orientation is a three-part experience. The first one being pre-orientation online that will open up June 1st. This is a 1-hour assignment that will help you prepare for your scheduled orientation. We please ask you if you can register 2 weeks before your orientation date that you have selected. Next is orientation. Orientation has been moved to a 2 to 3 hour experience online for both the student, parent, and guest. It is planned that students and parent and guests will have separate orientation start times. We're still working on the details and we'll be sharing them once it is completed. Lastly, we'll be having ongoing engagement opportunities like info fair, orientation leader meetups, and more. This is an opportunity to continue engaging and learning more about the club, people, and opportunities we have here at UC Merced. Next slide.
Okay, so we will be having a total of 9 orientations this summer, some which are a little different from one another. The parent and guest presentations on the orientations happening on June 30th and July 18th will be presented in Spanish. But I want you to all keep in mind that presentations for all students will be presented in English. The orientation on the 10th is designed for our incoming transfer students only. If you are a transfer student that cannot attend orientation on the 10th, there will be an alternative date that you can register to attend taking place on July 21st. Our bilingual orientation will be held on July 25th. This means that we will have presentations for parents and guests presented in both Spanish and English. Please ensure that you make the appropriate selection if you choose to attend the date based on whether your parents or guests wish to hear the presentations in Spanish or English. And lastly, the rest of the orientations happening on June 30th, June 27th, July 7th, July 14th, and July 24th are the orientations where presentations for both students and parents and guests will be in English. Next slide, please. The orientation fee for this summer was reduced to $50. That includes parents and guests. This fee will be posted to your UC Merced student account and must be paid by the fall 2020 deadline of August 19th. Next slide, please.
So now we will be going over some of the stuff that you will need to acquire before you begin your online registration. Before we begin, we would like to make a comment to all students. Please ensure that you have submitted your SIR, your Statement of Intent to Register, to UC Merced 24 hours before you begin your online registration. You will also need a laptop, Wi-Fi access, your UC Merced email and password. Next slide, please. So to gain access to your portal, we will be going through two different access points. The first one will be through your UC Merced student checklist. So this will be within your My UC Merced student portal. Within the checklist, there will be a list of uncompleted tasks. Within that task, there will be a specific task listed for new student orientation. Once you select that task, it will direct you to the new student orientation registration page. Next slide, please. The second page where you can gain access to your registration page will be through our orientation website. Once you have gone onto our orientation website, there will be a registration section. Once you scroll at the bottom, it will direct you to this page shown on our screen. Once you have gone onto this page, if you scroll at the bottom, there will be a big orange button. Once you select that, it will direct you to the orientation registration page. Next slide, please. So this will be what your portal looks like once you have put your UC Merced email and password. This will be the first step to beginning your registration process. On the first step, you will enter all personal information. Once you have completed this section, make sure to scroll and select the button Save and Continue. Next slide, please. The second step through registering will be the questionnaire section. Please make sure you go through every question, read thoroughly, and acknowledge that you have read each section. All the sections that do have an asterisk are required, so please make sure those sections are fulfilled. Once this is completed, please make sure to click Save and Continue. Next slide, please.
So step 3 are the dates. So here you will select the orientation date that you wish to reserve, and once you did, you then click Save and Continue. And just a reminder that the blue boxes are for parent and guests that are Spanish speaking. And we click Save and Continue, and into the next slide, please. Step 4 is the parent and guest. So here, underline as an add parent and guest, you could click that button and another tab will be presented to you, and it'll just ask for important information about that parent and guest. And once you added your parent or guest, you may click the Save and Continue. And then we go to the next slide, please. And then here finally is your registration complete page. So once you've done all of the following steps beforehand, you will get all information in this tab. And then once you are sure that everything is clear, you may click the submit button, where it will switch your reservation status into complete in green letters, as well as a blue box that says your reservation is now complete. We also will be sending a confirmation email, so make sure that you have the confirmation email, and it's just double checking that you have reserved for that orientation date selected. Next slide, please.
All right, so ongoing opportunities. Additional engagement opportunities will be offered throughout the summer for both students and parents and guests, which will include orientation leader meetups, office hours, webinars, and information fairs. Once we have more details, we will make sure to communicate this information with everyone. Next slide, please. A couple of important information that I would like to share. Orientation registration did open up on the 20th of April, so now you can log on and register. Also, the priority deadline for first-year student is on June 1st. And for transfer students, the priority deadline is June 26th. Next slide, please.
All right, so we made it to the end. In summary, orientation will be a 3-part experience, as was mentioned earlier. The first part will be your online pre-orientation. You will be sent a link to your UC Merced email account because online pre-orientation will be available starting June 1st. You will need to complete it 2 weeks prior to your scheduled orientation date. And it's approximately a 45-minute experience that you will do for your online pre-orientation. Next will be your online orientation that you register for the date that you scheduled. And they're the 9 dates that Crystal mentioned earlier. Make sure that you go through the dates to make sure that the one that you select works for you and any family members that you want to register to attend the orientation. There will be a student orientation experience as well as a parent and guest and family orientation experience. You are welcome to register as many family members as you'd like to attend that family orientation. Lastly, the ongoing engagement opportunities. Our orientation team is actively working hard towards developing those engagement opportunities for you to have opportunities to meet with your orientation leader, opportunities for you to get to know other office departments and resources that will help you in your transition to UC Merced. So stay tuned for those opportunities, and we will be sending those to you to your UC Merced email account as well. And orientation dates are unchanged, so they will remain the same despite not having our traditional on-campus experience this summer. We will still deliver our orientations on the scheduled orientation dates that have been on our website for summer 2020. The student and parent and guest experiences will be staggered throughout the day, and so students will go at certain times of the day. Parents and families will have a different time for their orientation. Some will be shared experiences, and so just stay tuned to your email. Once you register, you'll receive a confirmation email, and you will be getting emails from our orientation team as we confirm logistics and information for your orientation experience. And due to it being virtual, the day is shortened up, so you don't have to worry about being available the entire day, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for your orientation experience. It'll be an approximately 2 to 3 hour for students as well as for parents and family members. And lastly, the orientation fee has been reduced to $50. This student fee does include your parents, family members, and guests that you would like to attend the virtual orientation. And you do not need to pay this fee when you register for orientation. You will get charged the fee after you attend your orientation. It'll be on your bill from UC Merced starting August 1st, and it will need to be paid by the fall fee payment deadline of August 19th. All right, next slide. Okay, so we know we have some questions that came through. So we're just going to go through your questions. And if you thought of any other questions throughout this experience or just right now, go ahead and type them up, and that way we can make sure that we answer your questions as best as we can.
So for the first question, if in case school does not start due to the coronavirus, will we still have to choose our roommates, and will we have to pay for our dorms?
That's a great question. There's a lot of uncertainty right now due to COVID-19. If we can follow up with you regarding that question, we will make sure that we contact Housing and Residence Life to get a more thorough answer for you. At this moment, we're unsure. However, we will make sure to get you that information from our colleagues who work in housing and residence life.
The second question was, why is my orientation group NA not applicable? Do I have to pick a group? If so, how do I pick a group?
That's a great question again. Don't worry about the NA, and you don't have to pick a group. That's just part of our coding within our orientation platform, but it's nothing that you need to worry about, and it's not going to affect what dates you can register for orientation. So don't worry about it saying NA. It doesn't affect you at all.
The third question that we have is, when is the last day to register?
Our priority registration for orientation is June 1st, as Crystal mentioned, for first-year students, and June 26th for transfer students. If you register after this date, the dates or the capacity is limited for each of the orientation experiences, and there will be a $5 late fee. So just do your best to register as soon as possible. And if you do need to change your orientation date, as long as there is capacity and the date that you desire to attend, we can make that switch for you, as long as it's 2 weeks prior to your orientation date.
The next question is, so if we have added a parent or guest, will the total be $100?
Oh, great question. So we want to make it clear, it's $50 total. So students will be registering for their orientation. They will be charged $50. And if they add one parent, two parents, mom, dad, and grandma to the orientation, they will still be charged $50 total. They won't be charged $100, $150. So it's not $50 per person, it's $50 per student, no matter how many parents, guests, and family members you register for the parent and family and guest orientation.
Our next question is, how long is it again and when is it?
Our orientation dates are the dates that Crystal mentioned, which are the 9 orientation dates, starting at the end of June and going through the end of July. You must make a selection to attend one of those 9 orientations, and they will be an approximately 2 to 3 hour experience that is done virtually. But just remember that orientation this summer will be a 3-part experience because we won't be able to do our traditional on-campus experience. First part being the online pre-orientation, which is 45 minutes. That will be available. Check your email starting June 1st, and that needs to be completed 2 weeks prior to your orientation date, the one that you scheduled to attend. You will then attend your orientation date virtually, 2 to 3 hour experience for the student and any guests that they register. And then lastly, the ongoing engagement opportunities that we will be working towards putting together for you and your family members.
Thank you, Dulce.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is orientation optional? What will be covered or discussed in orientation?
Orientation is a required event for all incoming first year and transfer students. So we do need you to attend orientation. And in terms of what is going to be covered, we're actively working towards developing that program for both the students and family members. But what we will cover is important information to help you in your transition from your previous institution, whether it be high school or a community college, to UC Merced. So we are very mindful of the time that we have allocated for your virtual orientation, and do know that it'll be very focused and intentional in assisting you in your transition so that you successfully feel confident and ready to attend UC Merced in the fall.
Thank you. The next question is, can we attend more than one orientation?
So you can only attend one orientation, and that's why we encourage you to look through the dates so that we so that you're able to identify what day works best for you and your family members who would like to participate in the orientation. However, the ongoing engagement opportunities are a great way for you to continue to learn about campus resources and information to assist you in your transition. And we will be offering many opportunities through webinars and office hours where we will be available and providing assistance in letting you know what information do you need to know at this point in your transition to help you be ready once August comes around and the start of the fall semester begins.
How would we go about changing our orientation dates?
Crystal, would you like to help answer that question?
Yes, so the same way you log on to register for orientation, you'll log back in the same way, and you're just gonna go down to the section where it says select orientation date or select date, and you click on the edit button, and that is where you're able to make the selection as long as it's within the 2-week deadline. If it's afterwards, it will not let you make any changes. If you have a family emergency or you can't attend for any reason, please make sure that you send us an email to orientation.ucmerced.edu. Communicate that with us, and we will try our best to work with you.
Our next question is, would I pay after orientation day or after all orientations are over?
Great question. So you will be charged your orientation fee after you attend your virtual orientation, but it won't be posted to your student account until August 1st. So don't worry about having to pay for that orientation fee anytime soon. It won't be posted until August 1st, and then you will have to pay it August 19th, which is the fall fee payment deadline. And if you receive enough financial aid to cover your orientation fee, then it will just be deducted from there.
Okay, I need to help out with the questions. When you say email, are you talking about our personal one, or the school email?
The school email. So make sure that you're checking your UC Merced email frequently, as you will be receiving information not only from our orientation program, but from many offices from UC Merced. So definitely keep an eye on your email for important information.
All right, next question. Do we have to register our parents as well for the orientation? For example, if it's 2 parents who are wanting to join the orientation, can we just say 1 parent, or do we have to state the exact amount of people joining?
We encourage you to list as many family members that you would like to participate in the orientation experience. More than anything, if they have their own email address, they will also be receiving emails from our program regarding an event reminder, letting them know that their orientation is coming up. And so if you have both parents attending orientation, go ahead and, if possible, put them on your orientation registration. But if you're only able to put 1, that's fine.
Okay. How are we going to get our ID cards for the fall semester?
That's a great question, because that's part of our traditional on-campus orientation experience. Students get to take their CAT card picture, and the ID is called our CAT cards. And then at the end of the day, they receive them. So we are going to be working with the CAT card office on identifying ways in which we can still provide that experience. And we will be sharing more information as soon as we have details regarding possibility of submitting a photo and getting your CAT cards at some point throughout the summer, or once we start the academic year in August. So we don't have any details to confirm right now regarding the CAT cards or your IDs, but know that we are working on that information.
Thank you. Next question is, can we please see the dates of the orientation again?
Absolutely. Ricky, can you go back to the slide with the orientation dates, please? And you all can also find, thank you, Ricky. You can also find our orientation dates on our website, which is orientation.ucmerced.edu. On there, all the dates are listed. It gives you information regarding our costs, the Spanish-speaking parent and family orientations, transfer student orientations, and also a list of our frequently asked questions. So if you have any questions, know that you can go on there, and more than likely your question may be on there and the response. But if you ever have any further questions, you can always email us at orientation@ucmerced.edu.
All right. Where do we find our UC Merced email?
That's a great question. Jason, do you happen to know?
I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that right now. Ricky, can you chime in with that, please?
Sure. The question again, it was where can they find their UC Merced email address? Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a really good question. I'm trying to think back to my Student First Center days. I want to say that that gets set up whenever they claim their UCM Net ID in the very beginning. That, yeah, something comes up at that point because they have to transition that first time to get logged in. So I believe it comes up at that point. If they do need help with it, though, Students First Center is definitely able to help them. So we can add that information into the chat portion so everyone can see it. But that would be the Students First Center, and their phone number is 209-228-7178. Again, 209-228-7178. You can also just Google UC Merced Students First Center and their website will come up.
All right. Next question. What would happen if I missed the orientation? Would I be able to attend another one?
Yeah, that's a great question. We know that things come up, and we're completely understanding. So if for whatever reason you unfortunately miss your orientation date, we do need to hear from you so that we can do everything possible on our hands to reschedule you for another orientation date. Yeah, so just let us know that you weren't able to attend, and we will do our best to accommodate you into another date.
If the virus does subside, will our orientation still be virtual?
Great question. We are hoping that it subsides and that, we can start getting back to our new normal, right, after this COVID situation. However, we are now actively planning towards this virtual orientation. So even though, with the possibility of things going back to a new normal, we would still be delivering orientation virtually through an online experience. But thank you for that question.
All right, next question is, will our advisors pick our classes, or can I choose what classes I want to take if I'm a freshman?
Your academic advisor will be contacting you regarding course recommendations, in addition to knowing what your registration date and time is. So we encourage you to actively check your UC Merced email for that information.
Hello, folks. I wanted to chime in as well, keeping an eye on the questions that are being answered. There have been a few questions that have come in with respect to course, the question that's on a lot of folks' minds with whether or not instruction will be in person, and what's going to happen come fall semester with respect to the COVID-19 pandemic and response to it. Right now, as a university, we are actively planning for having classes in person in the fall term, but there are many things that are being taken into consideration and a lot of conversations currently taking place trying to determine for sure if we will continue to have classes in person in the fall term. So a final decision has not been made, but the fall term in the 2020-2021 academic year is not being canceled. So there is a possibility some instruction could be delivered online. However, those decisions are still being made, and the decision is hoped for in the next month or two. Of course, we have heard a lot of those questions, and a lot of folks are still asking a lot of great questions around that as well. And so we do know that it's actively on a lot of folks' minds. And so we ask that you do please be patient, and the university will do everything we can to communicate with you in a timely manner any changes that would take place for the fall semester or more.
For our next question, we have a question that says, if I can't attend orientation, the orientation that I registered for, will I be charged?
Yes, so you will still be charged for the orientation that you registered to attend virtually. And that's why it's important for you to communicate with us if you were not able to attend for whatever reason, so that we can accommodate you in another orientation session.
If in case I have changed if in case I have had to change my mind for my major, am I able to still change it?
Great question. For that particular question, I would contact your academic advisor. That way they can walk you through what that process looks like in changing your major. I'm not too sure exactly if you have to wait a certain amount of time in order to change your major, but that way, when you have that conversation with your academic advisor, they can recommend courses that will most align with your desired major.
Another question that came up was, if I have registered for orientation and I did not receive a confirmation email, does that mean I did not register?
Oh, okay. Possibly. That may be a possibility if you did not get a confirmation email, because it's automated. So as soon as you hit submit, if it was a successful submission of your orientation registration, then you should have received a confirmation email. And so I would encourage you to check back. And so log back in as if you were registering for an orientation date. Go to the very end and make sure that there is that blue box that says confirmation of your orientation. And if you do see it, then that means that you are confirmed to attend that orientation date, and we are more than happy to follow up with you and resend that confirmation email. Maybe it went to spam. In that case, that confirmation email that was sent the first time. So definitely check that first, and if you didn't receive it, we're more than happy to send it to you again.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Dulce. So also check back on the website to make sure that it says completed, and also check the email that you noted down when registering. So if you, for example, added your Gmail, check that email, and UC Merced email, just check both emails to make sure that it didn't get lost. And if not, just go ahead and reach out to us and we could send that email back to you or send it to you.
Our next question is, how many groups of students will be in each orientation?
So it'll depend on the orientation date that you register for. Some orientation dates have capacity of about 280 students, where other orientation dates have an increased capacity of approximately 350 students. So it'll range between 280 to 350, depending on the orientation date that you register to attend.
Our next question is, will there be an orientation fee?
Yes, there is an orientation fee, and this fee has been reduced this summer because we won't be able to do our traditional on-campus experience. We're now shifting to a virtual orientation experience, which will be a 3-part experience. Once again, it'll be an online pre-orientation that will be available starting June 1st. And it needs to be completed 2 weeks prior to your scheduled orientation date, the date that you select out of the 9 dates that are currently on the screen. And so then Part 2 is your virtual orientation, which will be a 2 to 3 hour experience for students, as well as a 2 to 3 hour experience for parents and family members and guests. And then Part 3 is ongoing engagement opportunities, which are in the form of webinars and office hours and other opportunities that we're working on. The fee is now $50, and this fee includes the student orientation experience and the parent and family orientation experience. So students, you don't have to worry about being charged an additional $50 per each guest that you register. It's a flat fee of $50 for you and any family members and guests that you would like to participate in the orientation experience.
Our next question is, where do I go to register for virtual orientation? Because I have registered for orientation in school only.
Yeah, so when you register for orientation, kind of like the steps that we walked through, you do the single sign-on, you do your UC Merced email and password. It'll then take you to register for your orientation experience. That's the virtual orientation experience that you're registering for. And once you have that and received your confirmation email, we now have your email so that once June 1st comes around, we'll send you an email with the information for the online pre-orientation, which will be the first part of your orientation experience. You'll then attend your scheduled orientation day, which is one of these 9 orientations listed on the screen, and that's going to be done virtually and not on campus. Then lastly, you'll then be given more information about other opportunities throughout the summer to participate in engaging opportunities and information that will assist you in your transition to UC Merced.
Our next question is, what can we expect at orientation?
At your virtual orientation, so for one of these 9 dates that you select, you can expect a welcome from our team and our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Dr. Charles Neese, on behalf of the university, welcoming you to the Bobcat family, so both students and their family members. We will also be going over information about helping you transition to the university. And in your online pre-orientation, it really focuses on readiness and resources that help you in your transition. And so in your virtual orientation experience on the scheduled orientation date, you will then put that information into practice. And what does that mean to learn about PALS tutoring, or to learn about other programs that the university offers. So we'll have orientation leaders facilitate an experience for you, in addition to having a session on advising, possibly to help you learn more about your academic expectations, and also looking into other sessions that will assist you in your transition. And for parents and family members, also having a session for you on what does it mean to be a partner in your student's success, and then what does it mean to support your student at this time in their transition to the university. So we will do our best to provide you with information that you'll need that's tangible, that can help you support your student so that they're ready to attend UC Merced in the fall.
Our next question is, during orientation, will we go through choosing our housing and food choices?
That's a great question. I believe that will take place prior. So it definitely does not take place during orientation. And that's why we recommend that you check your UC Merced email frequently, because you will be getting emails from our office, from Housing and Residence Life, Dining Services, Students First Center, with information that is important for you in helping you to make certain decisions in a timely manner. Some of those being housing contracts, meal plans. So definitely check your UC Merced email. We can't stress that enough. It's super important for you to check that as constantly as possible.
Our next question is, during orientation, how can we choose our classes?
Great question. So you will not be choosing your classes on orientation day. You will be checking your email to identify what date and time you are able to register for classes. Class registration will be taking place towards the end of June, and your academic advisor will be contacting you with information on how to register, course recommendations, and the date and time of your registration. And it's super important that you keep this this information in mind, and that you prioritize once you know that date and time so that you're able to register for classes in a timely manner. Because you want to make sure that you get the classes that you need towards fulfilling requirements for your major.
Is there anything else before orientation that we have to worry about?
Again, I'll go back to just constantly check your email, because there is kind of like a timeline of information and things that you do need to take care of throughout the summer as you prepare to transition to the fall semester and being a UC Merced student. Part of that being housing contracts, meal plans, making sure that you submit any transcripts that you still need to submit, immunization records. So all this information needs to be sent in a timely manner in order for you to fulfill those requirements on your checklist.
Right now, I'm just quickly going through to see if we have any more questions.
Thank you, Yesenia. And these have all been really good questions. So thank you so much to all of our participants for asking us questions. We're more than happy to answer your questions. Some questions we're not able to answer because they're out of our office. And so that's why we do encourage you to check your emails constantly so that you know when to fill out certain requirements and documentation.
Yeah, so the next question we have is, will orientation be like the webinars?
So the ongoing orientation experience, which is the part 3 of orientation for the summer, some will be webinars, and we're going to do our best to make them as engaging as possible, but it'll be important information for you and your family members to know as you prepare to come to UC Merced. So some will be webinars, but the orientation experience, the virtual orientation experience, which is these 9 dates, they will be hosted live, and we will have orientation leaders actively engaging you students throughout that experience. So it will not be a pre-recorded session. It's all going to be live for each of the 9 orientation dates.
So if you have any further questions or concerns, you can always email us at orientation.ucmerced, or email us at orientation.ucmerced.edu, or call us at 209-228-2296. And following our social media account, such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're very active in our Instagram account. We'll keep you posted, and there will be more on that, on the ongoing engagement opportunities that we'll be posting there. Anything else any of you all would like to add?
Yes, so our phone number, the 209-228-2296. At the moment, all of our staff is working remotely, so we don't have a live person picking up that phone. However, we do have our staff checking voicemails daily, multiple times. But if you have a question that you want an answer to more rapidly, feel free to email us to orientation.ucmerced.edu, as we are checking those emails daily, and there's multiple staff members checking the emails, so please feel free to send us an email.
We would also like to make a comment that on our orientation homepage, there will be a video within the coming weeks that will go more in detail on how to continue your online registration. If we had any guests join in midway through our webinar, there will be this video going out with more details and how to access the portal, and more so like the steps on registering.
I think we got a few more questions.
What is the difference about the orientation dates when some say Spanish and family?
I can answer that question. So like I mentioned earlier, all the presentations for our students are presented in English. So the Spanish ones are presented in Spanish for the family. So if you registered your parent that's a Spanish speaker, you might want to register that guest or parent to the Spanish speaking orientations. Back here. So then that would be June 30th and July 18th. Those are presented in Spanish for parents and guests. Also, our bilingual orientation that is held on July 25th. Presentations on that day are presented for parents and guests in Spanish and English. So when you do make that selection, if that's a date that you choose to participate in orientation, make sure you select Spanish or English for parents and guest presentations. But again, all presentations for our students are presented in English.
Thank you, Crystal. Next question is, will orientation be sent to both our personal and school emails?
Yeah, so if you listed your personal email in VZ, which is where you register for orientation, it should send a confirmation email to that personal email account as well. But just in case, make sure you're checking your UC Merced email account to ensure that you are receiving orientation information.
All right, so that was our last question for the day. Thank you for attending tonight. Now here's Ricky again.
Thank you, everyone that's been on our expert panel tonight. This has been an amazing presentation. For our audience members, thank you again to you for attending, and you still do see that contact information on your screen. That would be a really good opportunity right now for you to go ahead and take your smartphone and take a screenshot or a photo of that information to reference in the future. And like they said, that they do they're very active on their social media, so definitely follow them there as well for important dates and deadlines. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and wrap up our session, give you a couple of tips. You can find the recording for this event as well as many others that we've held in the month of April at the Admitted website for new students, which is admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. Again, it's admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. We've had a full month in April of tons of webinars for the Admitted Student Webinar Series. We've had up to 2 sometimes per day, so there's quite a few to look at there. We also had Virtual Bobcat Day this past Saturday. So we will be running all of those recordings from that day as well. So if you happen to miss that event, you can definitely take a look at the website of bobcatday.ucmerced.edu, and you should be seeing those up in the next day or two. As well, like I said, we had Virtual Bobcat Day, tons of great information, the other webinars. This is the last one for the month of April, given that today is the last day, but we will also be having more coming up in the month of May and the rest of summer. So please keep a lookout on admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars for upcoming events as well. Once again, thank you so much for our expert panel. We had Dulce, Yesenia, Elisa, Crystal, and Jason, all of our experts from the orientation department. And on behalf of the University of California, Merced, my name is Ricky Hill as an e-recruiter. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining us.